Welcome to episode 24 of the Mirandus Farmer's Almanac. I'm your host, Xana, and co hosting with me are Wolfie the Wolfenite, Kel Elf, and Hammer Hammond. Well, we've been waiting for a glimpse of Mirandus for a long time. Finishing up this latest playtest, we got some insights into how this world is coming together. As we reflect and discuss our experiences and thoughts, what will this game look like the next time we see it? After that, an introduction into the Mirandus Farmer server and how it could help you further your game and progression with some helpful ideas while also hoping that you bring your own. Alright, with that, let's listen in. So what'd you guys think of the playtest?
Awesome. It was awesome.
I'm
I thought
sad
it
Truly was.
I'm sad it ended, but I'm kind of glad it ended too. It was like a lot of time on there. Nothing like the Goblin Fields, but it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, we put in some hours. I mean, I wish it would still be up just so we could kind of play in there casually, test stuff out, find different breaks in the game, exploits, kind of just for fun to help the devs out, but with not as much of a high stakes environment. But man, I had a blast.
Nope. About you, Hammer. Do you like it? Good
Yeah,
stuff?
I had so much fun, man. It was so someone did some data mining and they found a treasure chest, a lootable treasure chest somewhere in the game.
Nuh-uh.
And
No way.
I don't I don't think anyone actually found it, but it was in the game files as a lootable item.
That's
So,
interesting.
yep.
Yeah, a couple of the devs came in and they were alluding to the fact that no one's found their Easter eggs yet, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
A treasure
that's kind of
chest.
yeah.
Yep.
People
Man.
were kind of thinking it had something to do with the crown, like if you had a crown in your inventory and you went back to like the original like beach or just something that would unlock something. Like people have started testing stuff, but I feel like it came a little too late.
I did
Like,
the
Hmm.
I did the beach. I went through. In fact, I recorded a video. I'll let that play here in a second.
mm,
But was there anything that you didn't like about the playtest?
It got a little too spicy for me.
yeah, it did.
I,
It got a little too spicy, and so then it just put people in awkward positions. It's like I just want to play Mirandus and have fun, guys. But
ah,
then
I
you know,
thought the spice was fun. I mean, I get it. It was great.
a
I
little
loved
bit
it.
is fun, but at times it got a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Well, here are some of the stats for. I think they posted it for all the playtest. So 8,436 exemplars played that test. Now, if everybody killed a goblin of those exemplars, we would all get $6 per exemplar. So,
Woohoo.
but at the bottom is the crown. So or not the crown, but killing the mother would have got you, I don't know, as prices of now around $1,250, which is not a bad score for
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
still
a
pretty
killing
good.
blow. Which is interesting that there's more killing blows than people that kept the crown or got the crown, because some people died with it, I think.
Hmm.
Um,
yeah,
Yeah, we had a couple guys in our group that were super low HP when they dropped down and ended up dying.
yeah, I think we had a guy too. He didn't make it out of
mhm.
the cave alive with it.
They started, and there was 10, 15 of us left, and they just started sprinting ahead. It's
Yeah,
kind of freaked out. I was like, dude, stay with the group.
yeah,
But
dude. It's like you couldn't handle the panic.
yeah, they just got the crown, got to take it home,
Yeah,
and died to a wolf on the way back.
totally. So yeah, congrats to the 29 that killed the mother kill. Congrats to the
Yeah,
24 that
absolutely.
kept the crown. Congrats to
Hmm.
Crust, sorry, and Lucky man for the goblin kills. Crust man, he must have been grinding the whole time. He must have been the dude playing for 22 hours without
Oh
logging out.
wait, what's the news on that? I didn't hear that.
Most goblin kills by a single player was Crust of Everglen.
Okay,
And
right on.
then second most killed by a single player, Lucky Canadian. Which I thought Lucky was in the lead. I had no idea Crust was grinding, which is kind of cool.
That's just single exemplar. I know Lucky was rocking a few, so I wonder what his combined was.
I don't know. He was helping us with the goblins, like
Yeah.
stationary up there, so he was just like killing them constantly. That dude, shout out to
Mhm.
that dude for just carrying so many people, whether his guild or not his guild, just
For
taking
sure.
people. I think he had a lot of fun doing it anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Mega Broaching C. You can find this on the Mirandus announcements. I think this was posted there under the announcements. Um, Playtest wise, I did do the beach. Let me plug that over. And hide this. So I'll just let that run as we talk with it because I'm sure everybody has like tons of footage of the playtest. I haven't seen any of the beach. So I just kind of walked down around the beach and explored the beach and stuff. But
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I don't know.
I
Podcast first, but I know people watch this on YouTube, so here you go. So for me for this playtest, this game still intrigues me after all this time. The idea of creating a MMO RPG game where items and are created by the players. They're owned. Everything's owned and created by players. The in-game money used in a functional economy has value and can be traded on open markets. So, dude, I'm obsessed with watching the progress of crafting this game and the challenges of making it all work. And will it work? Everything seems so intricate, and where some things could simply break it. Whether it's cheese, like the cheese spots we saw. It's like, how many cheese spots were there? It's like, what if that wisp or anything like that dropped something, of super value? You just sit there on a cliff and fire bows at it till it's dead, right? Or what we learned about the tents, or what the team learned about the tents with the healing. So, I mean, you're going to put all that stuff on chain. You can see how much work ahead of it there is, and getting for the first glimpse after, like, I've been here 2 years. I mean, I started this podcast 2 years. Mind you, I'm on episode, I don't even know, 20 something. It's like comes out 10 episode a month, but 2 years of like waiting to see this play test. Not really the Goblin Fields, not really the test before that, but something that's like, now you see how the deeds work. You see how far apart they are from each other. And coming out of that citadel, getting to that first place feels like a dungeon crawl, even though you're just dealing with wolves. You haven't even made it to the goblins yet. So I just think that the challenges of making this game, like, I think how hard the game, like, the economic value with everything they got to do, it's like there's still so much crazy work just with putting the buildings together. Mind you, the tents alone, like, how do you tier a tent like that? That tent's already overpowered. Like, what do you do with with a camp? I mean, it'd be like the same thing. Like, it just blows my mind. But I don't know what you guys got out of it besides, because the test itself was just so fun and all consuming, right? Just getting the gear, the challenge. Was it too challenging? Do you guys feel like it was too challenging?
I
Not
don't think so.
personally. Yeah, not personally. I can tell how intricate it's going to be, and it needs to be to kind of have its own economy, like player-based economy, to stand it up. But you just think about all the exemplars, every single shop that's out there, like everything has its own little intricacy or difference, like that they have to build in and like fine tune and tweak the advantage that a certain exemplar has over another. It just kind of, I think this playtest, it was amazing, but it just kind of screamed like, man, there's so much more work they have to put in.
Yep.
And it's like, how long, that end sword, that voltaic, like, we could probably farm it once we knew what we were doing in a couple hours, but
It
how
was
long would that sword take to make? Like when the game's actually, is it gonna be a couple weeks, couple months? You know?
Well, it's like, how easy was supposed to be to kill to get that item?
Yeah, right.
How many
Yeah, they're
people?
gonna need.
Oh shit! I
Are you still there?
apologize. Yeah, my Discord crashed, but we're good now.
Okay.
Alright.
I was just saying, like, yeah, because there's gonna be a direct incentive to find exploits and not tell anybody. So, like, what kind of logging system are they gonna have to be able to see It's like, okay, well, we only expected to have one voltaic sword crafted a week, and now we're getting them every hour. Like, what can we do about that?
Yeah, I imagine like you would get to keep that, right? There's just going to be a lot of testing for each zone, right, before they put it out. But if you test the zone, then you reveal the zone to all the testers.
Right.
So yeah, that's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to figure out all that, how to build that,
You
how
guys
to
need to have
build
a
that
good
in
bug
secret.
bounty system before they flip the switch. Just let us have at it. I think there's enough good actors that will,
Well, maybe
you
maybe
know,
that's what the use case for a lot of the distribution to get it out there of Materium. Maybe it's when you find these cheese spots, your issue, you get some sort of small bounty, right? So people want to come forward and tell you. They're all out there hunting for it to get a little bit of Materium.
yeah.
So I don't know. It depends on how good the cheese spot is, right? How much you
Yeah,
pay
that's
out.
true.
Is it worth the bounty?
But yeah, I
And
thought
hopefully, go ahead.
I was just, I was gonna say last, like all the past ones, we were going over the buildings, and I was just really intrigued with the tents because, man, they had to turn down those tents and just how they work. I'm just like, what are they going to tier up with these next tents? Like, are you? I mean, you can't really like when we have a flip switch. You know, sitting there tanking in a tent. Every time you do that heal, you're charged, right? I would assume you're going to get charged for using it by that building owner.
I thought they said something about the tents wouldn't be in that same fashionable use once
No,
the game actually comes out.
definitely not. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm curious if time's going to play a factor in that too. Like, did you guys like the looting system or the use just the F for everything, the way that it worked?
I did not
I
because
didn't either.
so for me, I've been having issues with my computer, and so since I was having those issues, if I was trying to loot anything else that someone started before me, I was gonna lose. So just because of my hardware, I was gonna lose. So I mean that could be the case in the game, but it was kind of
Yeah,
unfortunate
I could
because
see
of
that
that.
being an issue for people. I thought it was okay, but yeah, that brings up a lot of problems for people that might have
It was okay
connection issues.
for the play test. I mean, I know they're gonna
Right.
overhaul a lot of stuff, but like what they've talked, like McCarthy's talked about all the factors that go into a battle or a raid. You know, if it's healing or buffs or anything or tanking, it's not always how much damage is done. But I forget while we were playing, someone had the idea of it would be a good use case for our dice that we get from the tavern. Like if there is a literal like a roll like afterwards,
Oh
anybody
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
put damage, you just bust out your die
Yeah,
right
there's a
there, and
little
you kind of
circle
roll
and you
for
roll
it.
it. Yeah.
That was that you? I thought that was a
No,
great
no, that
idea.
I think Lucky said that. I think that was
Yeah,
Lucky who was like throwing that idea, but
just just
that
roll
was a
for
cool
whoever
idea.
gets the loot.
Another
Yeah,
use case for those really cool dice, huh?
Damn, dwarfs were stealing everything out from underneath
seriously.
of us.
Yeah, somebody thought the dwarves looted faster because they were shorter to the ground.
They can bend down quicker. No, but before we leave, how the difficulty of the playtest, I kind of wanted to add. So like the resource nodes in this playtest were unlimited. So in the actual game, they're not going to be unlimited from what we've been told. So, but we're also not going to have the you die and you lose everything. But with as many people that sat around that beginning pine tree or the iron nodes in the wolf cave or the carbon spots like that's going to be those resources are going to be super scarce, I think, when the game actually comes out, because first of all they're not going to be unlimited. Second, people aren't going to know exactly where they are, so they can't go and farm it. And like third, when you're in a big group, it's going to be significantly more dangerous because you're going to be out there for such like a quite a bit longer time trying to find the nodes. So like progress is going to be so much slower. So it's going to be a lot more difficult, in my opinion, than than this play test was because of the scarcity of the resources. So I'm looking forward to that. And
Yeah, I
long
think
answer short,
how
no, I
hard the
wasn't.
game is and the time to required to get things uh, can give this game its economic value because essentially what the value is time. Time is valuable, right?
yeah.
And being hard on top of that. So I mean, a game that hard where it takes this much time and energy to make something. And then, if you die in the actual game, it's talked about you lose mastery levels, right? Because that sucks too. So is that all mastery levels? Like, you finally got up to this level and you can craft this item, but you got to go get this stuff. But if you die, you lose those levels to be able to craft it. It's just like I don't know if that'll apply, but is it does it hurt adoption being that hard, or do you think people might love this? Because to hold that economic value, there's like I don't know, there's like balances, right? Do you overproduce stuff? Do you underproduce stuff? I mean, you got to find that right balance in there where it just kind of works, but it's hard enough where other people might just want immediate progression. And you might not have that in this game. You got to work for it. It's hard to get, right? So essentially, McCarthy always talks about that person that's got that sword. And he's like, whoa, I can't believe that guy has that sword, right? How did he keep that sword this long or something? It's like, raccoon pirate, dude.
Yeah.
And, a player in this game, nobody knew. This guy in this game named Raccoon Pirate in the playtest did not die. He got fully brigged out, everything, played the game for almost the whole 2 weeks, went up against Mother, killed Mother, did not die. And then he died helping a guy. But he lasted that long without dying once, and that just blew my mind. But like, being that guy and like he's never died, he's like the highest guy up there. It's like where that's an achievement and everybody sees that as an achievement just because the game's that hard. It's like
I think I had like a voltaic towards the end, and I was like, man, I'm gonna kite this brute away for him. Just he hasn't died yet. It's like you're doing crazy things just to protect somebody, just for weird reasons like
yeah,
that.
he helped a lot of dudes too. It wasn't like he
Oh,
did it
absolutely,
and
yeah.
logged off. He played with us the whole time. It's just
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
impressed as much as he played that he never died. I was just like, what are you using? All cheese, bro?
Right. But yeah, you got to remember too, another factor is going to be the recipes themselves might be NFTs. So even if you have the resources and the mastery, who knows if we're going to be able to craft that sword unless we have the NFT.
Well, yeah. I mean, another thing's all this playtest, like everything was a tent, right? And it was
Yeah.
interesting that they had it planned out where it was 2 homesteads up in the deer camp, 2 homesteads next to each other. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. Like within the game, it would be like these 2 people that have to work together. They're right next to each other, and they use each other's stuff and swap each other's building out. They're probably partners. They're probably forced to be partners, and they're probably friends too at that, because you kind of have to be, right? You work together. And it's interesting to see that those things that might happen in that game. Like out of that whole zone, I think there was, to give you an idea, of like 5 homesteads, 1 outpost, and there was this outside the citadel. There's this weird 10 by 10, not even half a hamlet thing going on out there. But that's all the deeds that were down. I think with 5 homesteads, but I think that's all the deeds that were down in that zone. To give you an idea how many deeds in a zone, what zones might look like for carry weight for buildings and stuff. But all we had was tents at like the Deerfield had a tent. There was another homestead there. There was like 3 other homesteads. No, there's 2 homesteads that had the tent, right? And then there was 3 other ones that just their building was non-functional. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see like what people will do with those spots. Like there was only the tent at the outpost too, but there was other buildings there, and it's just curious at how that zone's going to work together.
The spacing felt pretty good to me. Like, I guess in this playtest, it kind of made me realize like how difficult it's going to be to travel. Even though they felt relatively close, as like inside of a game, it was still pretty difficult to get from A to B, even to get to the heal tents. So
Yeah,
like, yeah, this world, hopefully the world's big enough to where we can spread out enough, but also they allow us to be close enough to where we are going to need to work together. And we could put a ranching hamlet and a farming hamlet right next to a village, and everybody can kind of scratch each other's back and survive in their own little corner of the world.
Yeah, I
It's
think
only going to be 40% of the
Yeah,
deeds being used in the game at one time, so it's going to be traveled a lot.
yeah.
yeah, I think it take time. It's like they're going to build this game out as we go, so there might be people waiting just to put their deeds down because it might be first come first serve. we was talking about like some of these larger deeds. Once you get the hamlets, maybe like the prince or the dukes, where it's like there might be some great boss there sitting in the way, right? You got to defeat this boss and clear this out to be able to put your deed down. I could see them doing things like
I hope
that.
so. I hope so. I've always wanted them to. Yeah, you have to kind of clear the land out, or there's like some huge resource requirement where you and your buddies can get out there, like you land together on a ship. You go out and hey, you need 10,000 oak or 10,000 pine or something in order to actually be eligible to place your deed down.
I remember
Just where
McCarthy
it's
once mentioning that we wouldn't have to do that since we have. That might have been for the buildings though. I don't know about the deeds. He was saying
yeah.
one or the other, where it's like, if you have this, I think you should be able to. You should
For the
just be able to
buildings
put your
for
stuff
sure.
down.
Just yeah, I feel like it would just be make sense in the lore just to be able to you have to go in there and tame the surrounding a little bit before you place your monster city down right in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But I just think that'd be cool just as far as like a resource harvesting instead of just this place looks good, click a button and then there's magically
Yeah,
a
it's
city.
down.
Just kind of
Yeah.
make it a little harder to place would be a little
Sure. You
little
got to
better. But
after you got to get there first, right?
yeah, for sure.
I could see a real use case for the horses too. You could blow through a lot of that stuff. Like if I was by myself, and I mind you, other people had different experiences with this test. Us, we were rolling in big groups all the time. They kind of had a good group going in the community Discord. But I talked to a couple guys that like they just jumped in for the first time. They started working. We skipped all the stuff. We went straight to champion sword. We had just all locked and planned down. This is the gear you go for. But there were others that like they go through the tiers, getting all the leather for the leather armor, then going for the brig stuff after that. And I talked to a couple guys that was just like, man, that was extremely hard. I put like 4 hours of getting all this stuff, man, and died to a goblin. And I'm just like, man, yeah, I feel your pain. So I can see like the game being, yeah. I encourage those guys, if you like the game, get involved with the guilds. It doesn't matter what guild it is, man. If it's Maw, if it's Everglen, if it's Gem, it's just like it's all like tribalism. But these people, they'll help you, right? It's just we're all enjoying the game in our own ways. We're all still a community, and that no matter what guild you're in, you should bounce in and try to find somebody to help and play with, man. Because doing this game solo, or even with 2 people, man, it's gonna be fucking hard, dude.
Yeah.
Just from this, I mean. But anyways, I was saying with horses, I could see you blowing through all that stuff pretty easily. Although I don't know how long the aggro is going to drag them. I'm also curious about like with the deeds. I seen half walls up. Like so, when you get your deed down, now do you have to build your fences? Are players coming into your town and dragging like 30 wolves behind them? Or do they lose aggro and interest at some point? Which I assume they would at some point. Because them brutes drag pretty far. But
yeah, the kiting was pretty broken in this game. People were not too happy about that, which I totally understand.
yeah,
But I mean, the kiting kind of gives if you are able to bring stuff in to people's towns and like reset their shops back to 1. I mean, that kind of gives good utility to the voxes, maybe like the wolf or the the hawk or whatever. Any of those you can like place up in your deed and it repels those mobs. So there's a lot of interesting details they could throw in there.
yeah, they could do a lot of stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anything else? I want to pop in and show you guys farmers and what I'm trying to do with this to help the community. You guys got anything else on the playtest you want to talk about specifically?
No, I mean overall, I thought it was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Like I kind of said earlier, I'm sad it's over, but I'm also kind of happy
We
so
are.
that I can have a bit of a life again.
Yeah. Imagine when the actual game comes out, bro.
Oh,
Like,
it's
oh
gonna
man.
be awful
John
in the
Uh,
best way.
John T was like, "Hey, congrats to anybody that kept their marriage together during this playtest."
For real. I was in the doghouse a bit myself.
Yeah.
I can say the same.
It was crazy. All right. Let me find.
I had while you're looking for that, I had a European friend who who was like getting up at crazy awful hours just to do raids and to like help people level up and everything. Like he was basically on an American time zone schedule while also trying to work and be a husband and everything else during that playtest. So shout out to him.
Hmm.
Intense.
Yeah, what that raccoon pirate? He would wake up at like 4:30 or 5 a.m. every morning to raid with us. Like
Wow.
this level of commitment right there. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was it was 4 a.m. for him, wasn't it?
I think so.
Man, that was commitment. Um, dang, I got this. There we go. All right. So I just want to show everybody what I'm doing here with Mirandus Farmers. So for anybody who wants to know, Mirandus Farmers is no longer a guild. We kind of voted it out. We wasn't ever really a guild to begin with. I think we started out and we all had these farming deeds and we wanted to like, how do we like, this was 2 years ago too. So like bringing fresh food for everybody to eat. And it was just like, we knew nothing about this game. We ended up all pitching in and buying a founder's node. And half that founder's node goes to everybody that pitched in. And the other half goes to like the guild and for its resources, which is still kind of like the thing. It's like democratic and we voted it for that way. So, but now we voted to kill the guild status, and then the founders node is now dedicated to what the founders want to do with that community half of the money rather than the community deciding what to do with it. So it was like they just gave the Discord to the community and they voted themselves to be able to do with it what they want with that half for the community or whatever. But what I wanted to do with this was create a community hub or center. Let's say McCarthy says that Mirandus that he is just building a stage, and then we're like going to do with this stage with what we do with it, right? He's just building the stage. So if Mirandus is the stage, I'm trying to make this Discord the backstage where people can talk, where logistics happen, and it's not controlled by anybody. It is completely community driven. If anybody wants to get involved with this, mind you, reputation, like I know you, somebody can vouch for you before giving you like mod roles or community leader roles, you are more than welcome to help with this. I feel like everybody should be a part of this, but I kind of wanted to go over what this Discord can do and my plans for it and what you might have to throw on top of it or anybody has to throw on top of it. Any ideas that would make this game work smoother for people. So let me just start. So on the first is verify, right? It's a verification. You click it, you see all the channels. Mind you, you're viewing it in my view right now as administrator. So community stage. For the future, I thought about just taking this podcast that I rarely do and just maybe doing it monthly and just making a stage and just having everybody involved with it. We'll put up some topics and we'll talk about those topics for 30 minutes to an hour and just kind of create some ideas, community, maybe come up with some cool things, just talking, right? Have something fun like that rather than just me selecting some people and we just talk about the topics at hand. Community council, that is just for mods and builders of this community. So if you're interested, founders, those probably need to change their name to treasurers at some point. Support tickets, probably get into that, but main chat, the README is the rules, right? There's things with the guilds, announcements, you know what that is. Global chat, that's just the chat. Global trade, this is people wanting to buy and sell stuff. So you guys are welcome to like come in here, your NFTs or stuff like OpenSeas. I would highly suggest make sure you're doing private sales on OpenSeas, not to really trust anybody. And I would also suggest that when you're buying something or asking to buy something or asking to sell something, put a price with it. Because there's tons of people are buying and selling on OpenSeas. Just put a price with it, make it somewhere where it's like worthy because everybody's selling and everything's buying on open seas with bids already. So can you beat those? You're more than welcome to post here. Let me grab a drink real quick. All right. Polls. So any kind of polls you guys want, I can throw them up here if you need community data or any information at all. You can see some of them just like, I started these are pretty old, but I thought they were kind of useful. Is what would you be willing to pay for a farming plot if they were rentable, like a 5x5 farming plot? And you can see what people's chosen. And you're welcome to change these at any point in time. Just change your decisions. It just gives other people an idea like what's too much to pay, what's too little to pay, what's the right price, what can people afford? Because ideally it'd be cool if this game was affordable, but I could see like the first few zones going down. Those buildings are going to be pretty rare to get that spot and probably want to demand a high dollar. I don't know. Then you go into key allowances for those buildings, which we'll jump into that too. But anything like that, there was like weird questions in here, like would you rather take payment for Gala or Materium? Most people wanted Materium, but we'll see how it goes once the game launches. Anything you wanted to change it off, if you want to go through the polls, anybody can view there. There's no private channels here. The only private channel is for the treasurers and then the moderators. Giveaways, those was pretty old, but if we ever have them again, they're there. What's really important is the zones. So the zones is like Narrow's Landing. So Narrow's Landing. So let's act like at the playtest we're at Narrow's Landing, right? That whole zone is Narrow's Landing. Well, there's a chat for that zone. So if you're in that zone, here's the chat for that zone. I don't know if the game will have that. I don't know if these channels be relevant, if there's things we can add, if there's things we don't need and we take away. It's just to help everybody out. Everybody. Trade within that zone. So whatever you're buying and selling within that zone. There's also further down, this is feedback. Let me just go through them all. I just want to jump ahead, but I'll go through them all. So feedback and suggestions. These channels aren't active yet. They won't be active for a long time. This is for like a live game, guys. So when a live game happens, listen, you want to use the server. You're going to want to use the server. So feedback and suggestions. This is perfect for BUS, for crypto tax lawyer or something like that. But anybody can use it. Like there's too many tents in this zone. Somebody's got to get rid of a tent. We don't need a tent here, right? They put stuff like that in here. What does that deed owner need to change? We got too many wood shops, or I don't know. It's just player feedback, right? To give to those deed owners and those building owners, right? These are the deeds that are in that zone. Now, I want to work with everybody on this. So even Hammer, he's got a website, and where did I put that at? Was it under the README? Or, anyways, it's in here. Oh, it was under the README. Community web pages. So you click on that. Hammer site's, what is it? The Mirandus Hub. Yep, Mirandus Hub. So you can click on that and check out his site. It's a really cool site. I'm put in like, these are the farming hamlets here, right? There's one, this is farming hamlet 1. You can click on it. It gives you all the information on who's ever hamlet. If you want to tell me what your hamlet is or communicate with this site, I can relay all your information about your deed by clicking that. But every time you change something up, I have to fix that. So I talked to Hammer before about making logins. You remember us talking about that, where it was like individual player login, and then I can just link to your page and they can customize it through your site if they wanted to. And that goes for anybody's website or any project somebody's building out. I don't mind just bridging over to you guys. It's just community building. This is all this is community building. But anyways, this is the best I could do right now. If you had a deed down in Narrow's Landing, and like we talked about, there were 5 homesteads, 1 outpost. I would have those all here. Mind you, I don't have the locations, but I can give this information. Everybody can see this information without being there. It's a little bit of a hack to the game, so it might be, I don't know, exploratory. Like I know Mirandus Master wants that exploration to see what's out there, but this is kind of just throwing it all in your face. Like you can see within the zones. This one's zone unknown because I don't know the next zone that opens up has the same stuff. So every zone will have these channels in them. And then down here in Mirandus Scholars, oh man, where'd it go? Is it Workforce? Anyways, Workforce was just for the, oh wait, there it is. Role selection. So this is your blacksmith, your woodworker. You can turn these on and off. I kind of act like, and I described it above, that they're kind of like time clocks. So anybody can tag these professions. And then all these roles over here, all these people's roles over here. Anyways, on the roles on the side, you can see Mirandus Farmers. There's like ranchers. There's this person owns a Duke. You can tell by their role. You will not have these roles. You will not have those building roles unless you have a role. That deed is down in Mirandus, or that building is down in Mirandus. Other than that, you'll just be whatever your character is. But your professions, if you are a blacksmith that has access to the building, you can like click on that blacksmith role or outfitter role or jeweler, whatever you are, and consider yourself on the clock. So when people say, I need a blacksmith, also I want to add roles with zones too. So you are a blacksmith in this zone. People can tag that, and then you're able to respond to that and get your work done. If that makes sense. How does that sound? Like,
Yeah, that sounds super good. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I talked to Jay Hughes a little bit, and he said that, and for those of you who don't know who Jason Hughes is, he's the, I think, lead technical developer of Mirandus or something like that. Regardless, I talked to him about some sort of API that I could hook up with Mirandus Hub to display the different deeds down and their buildings listed at that current time to avoid that step of having to manually replace the buildings when they swap out buildings. And he said that that's actually something that they want to do eventually. They are okay. From what he said, he thinks they will be okay with doing some sort of API that would allow people to hook into that to display.
Yeah, they should do an API.
Yeah, that's gonna be vital.
Yeah, that'll open up for, I don't know if they'll let add-ons in there or not.
Probably not.
But, that opens up the door for that stuff. Opens it up for third-party sites using the API with the, whatever they call Geary, that blockchain data, and kind of seeing into there. And if anybody's doing stuff like that, I do not mind integrating like a link to find that through this site. But until there's stuff, like I think this can work as a social, like over distance of zones. You can figure out price. You can figure out who has access to these buildings, who can help you, just by like tagging them with this system, and you could be talking within the zones themselves. Like that's where those people would hang in those zones themselves, or that chat specifically if they're working in that zone. They can get that feedback from other players that are in that zone. Those players can figure out where the deeds are in that zone and what's around them, what they're looking for. Anyways, Workforce was just for, scholars, obviously, people looking for any kind of work. I opened up playtest channels. These are kind of like whatever right now. They'll probably go away. The trade chats. So if you're doing specific trades and you're looking for information on them, you want to talk to people that's in your trade, these are specific channels of that. Like Wolfie, if you want like horse breeding, right? You can come in here. You can link your Discord for the horse breeding or stuff. I don't know. Talk to other horse breeders. Somebody's looking for a horse, right? You could come to this channel specifically. Somebody's looking for a sword specifically and tag the blacksmith. It doesn't matter. You just tag blacksmith, that tags them all. So if they're on the clock or they want to hear that tag and they're looking for work and somebody's like, I need a blacksmith, they can be like, here, I'm in this zone. It might be like, that's too far. But anyways, those are like, I could add more trades. I don't know other trades to add in, but I could add that. Mirandus guilds. So I did a select your guild. I didn't want like, here's a guild of 2 people, or I wanted at least 10 people to be a legitimate guild to get your own recruitment channels, right? So here's Gem, here's Everglen. I have Rome in here. I don't know if Rome wants to use this or not. Mom, some guys voted on there. I don't know if Mom wants to use this or not. I had Groove come out and apply. You can apply your guild through a ticket. Just send me the image. I'll put it down here and get 10 people to click on this, which will end up actually being 11 just because the bot clicks one for you. But if you get those 10, I'll just give you your channel. It's your channel to do with. You have full permissions on it. And it's just a way to advertise your guild. Because rule number 1 is I don't want guild propaganda floating in here. If you're going to float guild propaganda, use your designated channel. If you're trying to get people to click your link, there's guild chartering, right? You can do all the guild propaganda you want, just don't spam it, right? This is specifically for guilds. This channel is for guilds and recruiting. So I want all guilds to have a chance at having this and just advertising their stuff. But onward, Mirandus TV. Just, content, Mirandus content. Node content. People are into their nodes. Gotta have the node content. I don't know if Mirandus nodes will be a thing. RPG adventures. This is something with Yell. Yell likes to do these RPG adventures, which are actually fun. You just jump in channel, something fun to do. He's really good at it. If anybody, I've done a few with Neff, and Rec does them with me too. Rec Volcan, but it's just like a side thing that anything somebody wanted to do. Why not? It's a community server. What I'd really like to have, and I ain't gonna have time for this, is a library where it's like you can go through and find all the information you need on Mirandus just from I like give you a title of librarian. You just like find all the Mirandus videos, tie it with a link to the Discord chat for when that video was happening. Nobody knows about souls, right? For your exemplars, where can you like the mention of souls? And you just type it in the search maybe up in the top corner. Souls, and it would come up in the library, and you just click on that and you can find your information of souls through, I don't know, the Mirandus Discord. But a lot of third-party sites can help with this stuff too. You should add souls. Is souls on yours, Hammer, on your website?
It is not. That's something I'd like to put on there, but
Yeah.
it is not currently on there.
I just feel like an informational library would like help tremendously with people because it's always repeating questions, right?
Right.
So I don't know, but I just wanted to go over. That's what I'm doing with Mirandus Farmers. It's up to all you guys to decide whether you want to adopt this or not. It's neutral. It's neutral territory for everybody. I know there's like little guild spats, and I just want you all to be. You're all welcomed here. You're all able to just freely do your things neutral. And everybody's welcome here. I think everybody should use something like this if the game comes out, just for communication in the game. I don't know how communication is going to work in the game that well. If everything's like a secret, it'd be cool to have maps. If I can start tagging maps, or just if people want to build maps and I can like tag those maps to that specific zone channel, like chat, and it's pinned and you can see a map of that zone. Just something to help everybody get around, help everybody navigate, help networking, help logistics. Because when we get all these deeds down, you're going to kind of have to work with your neighbors. You don't know who's next to you. This is a good way to find out who's next to you, how to work with them. There's just a lot of logistics and networking between
I love it, man.
so many different people, and you just don't know what you're going to end up next to. And I think this stuff can help. And it's here if you guys want to use it. And that's pretty much all I got.
I'm gonna try to get a lot of use out of it and try to contribute as much as possible. I love that it's guild neutral too. It's one thing we learned in the playtest, like soloing this game is gonna be extremely difficult. So for this game to do well, and we don't want players to get left behind, and being in a guild is not always wanted or necessary.
Yeah.
So just having a place like, a global chat is usually pretty important in games, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in Mirandus, if I'm being honest. So a lot of that chat and a lot of that stuff, people just have generic questions on. And a lot of it might be around money, talks about money, and that's
Yeah. Well, I like
typically
the idea is to create a free market. I don't want people,
yeah,
right now all there is, like, I got to bounce around different discords to find people and
yeah,
learn different things, learn what everybody's doing, and then I don't want I don't want guilds taking control and making an authoritarian kind of regimes. I don't know. This is just a way to escape that, have some free market somewhere, because I'm sure, working with your guilds is going to be super important too. Like, you want to use your assets and help your guilds and
yeah.
support your members and stuff. But, I just don't want people to get trapped in those systems either,
Yeah,
where
you gotta
an
remember
elite
there's a
few,
larger
yeah,
yeah,
kind of
there's a
tell you what
larger
to do.
guild called Gala. Like we are in the same.
Yeah, and
We're
this
in a
kind of
larger Gala guild and try to lift each other up a little bit
well,
here.
this takes it out of Gala too, because there's a lot of players. You get banned from Gala, dude. You lose
Well,
that
that's
chat.
true.
So
That is true.
I don't want to ban. I'll never ban anybody here unless you're like being obviously super malicious or super spamming, right? But other than that, it's just worst case timeouts. But nobody should get banned from having this tool and this information. So yeah,
Yeah, no, I actually really like it. You and I have kind of talked about this a little bit, but so I used to play a game called Elder Scrolls Online a lot, and when you get kind of deep game and you're dealing with expensive goods in the game, the market system wasn't the greatest for sellers, and it's going to be the same for Mirandus because you have to go to individual shops as you would in Elder Scrolls. So what people did was they created a big group chat, a centralized group chat, and then people would auction off big ticket items instead of via the social media or via the group chat instead of placing it at a shop where someone would have to just randomly stumble across it.
yeah. I feel like you
So
get a broader audience. Like, I talked about the billboards before on Deeds. This is a little bit like the billboard, but on a wider scope, because you don't have to be on the deed to see it. Everybody can see it. So if you're selling some sort in these shops, you can go to that, like, Narrow's Landing trade chat and say, I got these swords in these shops, right? But yeah, I don't know. That's all
I
I
like it.
got. All right.
yeah, I'm excited for it.
All right. Well, I hope everybody kind of enjoyed this episode. 46 minutes, not too bad. Hopefully, it wasn't too long of a listen. But I hope you guys join. I'll throw a link to it in the description as always. Uh, welcome to join. Welcome to, like, help out. I need help, right? I'm not. I'm just gonna keep building and do what I can. But if you want to get involved, I come help. I need boosts. I think I need more boosts at some point. But not right. This isn't
Gotcha.
anything that needs to happen anytime soon. This is a server waiting for a game, right? So
Story of my life.
there you go. Yeah, another 2 years, man. We got a long way to go, but man, it's a fun journey getting there, no matter who we are, man. And we'll
Absolutely.
do it as a community. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Well, thanks for hanging out, you guys.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
for
us.
inviting us.
All right. Till next one. Peace.
See you guys.
See ya.